Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Homestand on the Parlay Network. I'm your host, Celine Trimarchi, alongside my co-host, Justin Pooni. Now, for today's show, we're going to start off on a touching subject, Börje Salming. Now, there was a tribute for him on Friday. Personally, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. He totally deserved that. It was special, emotional. You saw the emotion from all the players that were on the bench, on the ice, and from the fans in the stadium and the arena. What did you think about that whole?
Yeah, so me being a guy, of course, I've watched hockey my whole life, but I never knew who Börje Salming really was. I knew he was a Hockey Hall of Famer, but I didn't know, he's probably the greatest Leafs defenseman of all time. And seeing the reception he got on Friday and on Saturday as well, it really opened up my eyes. Wow, this guy was really just beloved in the city of Toronto, right? And it was, a beautiful moment. Of course, Daryl Sittler was brought to tears in it. I'm sure as many Leaf fans I've heard were brought to tears by it. It was definitely a special one for a lot of Leaf fans out there. And I think just the hockey world in general. Like, I know people think that, outside of Toronto, we all hate the Leafs, which might be true. But I think that was a moment where all of us kind of put all of our allegiances and kind of all of our fanatic feelings aside and came together as hockey fans to see just a beautiful moment for what it was. A legend of the game being honored by a city and a town and a club that, he spent so much time with and that he's so beloved with. So it was definitely a wonderful, one of those moments that is just a beautiful hockey moment. And it shows you just, there's a lot of things said about hockey on a negative light, and a lot of it's deserving, but this was definitely something that was showed the game off in a touching and excellent light.
Everyone came together for this moment, and Salming really opened the doors too for lots of European players to come across and play the Canadian sport, because that's what hockey was known for in the beginning.
Yeah.
And even on a personal level, my father idolized Salming. He was a defenseman because of him, because of Orr. And it's we come from an Italian descent. So for my dad too, it was just if he can do that, I can do that. And because you face lots of adversity in hockey, in any sport really. And he really just paved the way for all of that. Even Matt Sundin, I got to talk to him at the Legends Classic yesterday, and he was saying that he idolized Salming for when he entered the league.
And I think I was at the game on Saturday, and during that tribute video, they were saying that, he was known as a fighter in Sweden, but in the NHL, he was known as just, I forget what they said, but just a wuss, whatever, right? And to me, that just shows you how far this game has come, where that stereotype of if you're a European, you can't handle it in the NHL. And the way he played definitely showed that he could handle it, and not only handle it, but succeed and have a Hall of Fame career, right?
Yep.
And like you said, open the door for all these other Swedish players that we, of course, are going to talk about in a little bit.
Yes, we are going to touch on that right now, actually. So Sheldon Keefe made a really sweet gesture, and he started the lineup with all Swedes.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
Again, I thought it's hard for me to criticize anything with the Leafs in that moment, because what he did was absolutely the right thing to do, right? There was a talk about whether Erik Källgren will play in the game, because they play on Friday night against Pittsburgh, and would he get the second of back-to-back? And I was reading I think Timothy Liljegren was saying that when they announced that Källgren was going to be the starter, the whole dressing room erupted, because it just showed that, he understood the time and place, the moment of it. And, they didn't start off hot on Saturday, but they definitely finished hot in that second period, and it paid off for the Leafs.
Yeah, it was a good win. It was a nice win.
Yeah, no.
What did you think about that win, Justin? Because you were at the game.
Yes, I was.
And who were they playing?
The Canucks. Yes, so, of course, pregame, I was, rocking on my Canucks jersey on.
Did you troll any Leafs fans
No, I
there?
didn't.
Did anyone troll you?
No, people were actually really nice.
Guys,
surprisingly.
you gotta troll him if you see him.
So last year when I went to the Canucks game, people were really aggressive up in my face. I went this year, people were nice. I actually met a father and son from Wisconsin who are Leaf fans. Their first ever NHL game, first ever time to Canada. So I had to show them that Canadian hospitality. But I did tell them, though, that, Vancouver is the better city. And they did promise me they would come visit. And there's other people that I met there that did agree with me that Vancouver's a nicer city than Toronto. But
No. You can't just say that and get away with that now.
What do you mean?
Give me 3 reasons why you think Vancouver's a better city.
3 reasons why I think Vancouver's a better city than Toronto.
Why? Because they're pretty similar.
I mean, well, we have mountains.
Okay.
the beach.
Whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo.
Have you ever seen mountains before in your life?
I actually have. I've been to Tennessee. I saw mountains
That's
there.
not mountains.
Those
are
are
hills.
mountains.
Those are hills.
Oh, those are.
Have you ever seen the ocean before?
You think I live under a rock?
I don't know. You think Lake Ontario is the ocean?
Yeah, Lake Ontario is totally an ocean.
And hey, the last thing is I'm from Vancouver, so that's why it's the best in the world. Well, that's home. That's home.
So mountains and ocean, and because you're there.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the rising housing prices?
The housing prices are just as expensive here.
Yeah, but I think they're more expensive there.
But gas is more expensive, which is not a positive. But I will say this: the nightlife in Toronto, so much better than Vancouver. I will say that.
The nightlife in Toronto?
Oh yeah.
Well,
You can get in a lot of trouble in the nightlife in Toronto.
well, we know one player that got in a lot of trouble in the
Yeah.
nightlife in Toronto.
Yeah, it's true. That is true.
That is very true. Well, if you guys want to find out where Justin is, just hit up King Street. He'll be there every single weekend.
Okay, yeah, maybe some weekends.
Okay. Anyway, so back to this weekend. It's a really important weekend. We have the Hockey Hall of Fame induction that's going to be taking place. It's the actual ceremony tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm well aware of who's up on the screen behind me. So as you can see, Daniel, Henrik, Sedin, and Roberto Luongo are all getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Who are you most excited to see enter?
All three of those guys.
All three of them?
So you don't understand. So being a Canucks fan, there's been a lot of heartbreak, right? At least
Yeah.
we've been to the Stanley Cup Finals and to the second round. But there's been a lot of heartbreak.
I'm gonna kill you, Justin.
But those three guys, Roberto Luongo, Henrik and Daniel Sedin, probably the three greatest Canucks of all time. You could put Pavel Bure in there or whatever, but those three guys right there are the three greatest Canucks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Henrik and Daniel Sedin, as great as they are, players-wise, even better human beings. And you can ask anybody from the province of British Columbia, anybody from Vancouver, they will like swear by that. Those two guys right there, just what they did off the ice for the community, on the ice. And we talked about Börje Salming, right? You know, these guys were, when they came in the league, they were called the Sedin sisters. You know, they would get, teams go after them. And they never once batted an eye. They always came back. And it's fine for me as a Canucks fan and as a guy who saw them for their entire career and saw them at the height of their powers, for them to finally get recognized and get the respect that they deserve in this hockey and the world of hockey, it's amazing to see, because MVPs, scoring titles, took this franchise to heights they've never been to before and never have seen since. For me, it's almost an emotional moment to see these three guys get inducted and get their just due as Hockey Hall of Famers, because they deserve to be there.
And you know what the cherry on top about this all is that they're brothers and they're both getting inducted.
You'll never see it ever again.
No.
You will never see two twin brothers get drafted together, play their entire career together,
17 seasons.
Inducted to the Hall of Fame together. You'll never see it. It'll never happen ever again.
No, honestly, it's a moment in history. And if you're lucky enough to actually attend the ceremony tonight, you're going to have an amazing time. If you were lucky enough to even go to the Legends Classic or even see them at their prime, cherish that, because you're not going to see that again.
Yeah, the amount of games I went to see these guys growing up, I mean, for me, I have to pinch myself, because it's nuts. Like I still can't imagine, like, these three guys are going to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame together. It's crazy.
It really is crazy. And even for Roberto Luongo, like, I'm not a Canucks fan, okay? No. I'm not. I'm a diehard Leafs fan.
We'll convert you over, no problem.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It'll happen.
No, probably not. But I do remember the Olympics. Like, that's where I really gained, I think, a lot of respect for Luongo, like, just during that. And I learned even more about, like, the players that were playing for Team Canada. And, like, that moment you can never forget. Yeah. Like, ever forget.
I mean, like, everybody remembers the Crosby goal, and of course, but
Luongo saved their butts half the time,
Roberto Luongo made a lot of critical saves. And then remember, when they were handing out the gold medals, I mean, it was in Vancouver, but he got probably the loudest ovation, right? And I mean, the amount of moments those three guys gave me in my life that are like moments where, like, I will remember exactly where I was. Amazing. So I haven't stopped smiling.
So.
You
know, I'm actually really enjoying this because we're finally seeing the emotional side of
Yeah,
Justin.
I'm not just an evil guy. I got some.
Yeah, instead of just the trolling and the mean side of Justin, where he's just nagging us constantly.
No, this is you pulled my heartstrings today. My heartstrings are being pulled today. It's all coming out.
I really like that. I really like that I pulled that out of you. I'm glad.
You pulled the emotional side of me out.
Well, tonight's gonna be a really emotional night, regardless. Like I was saying, the ceremony is gonna be taking place.
Also gotta give a shout to Daniel ALFREDSSON as well.
Oh yeah.
Long-time Ottawa Senators captain as well.
You know what? Before we end off, since you just said that, I'm thinking Ottawa. Ryan Reynolds. Do you think he should buy the team?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Why?
Because he's a Canucks guy. I don't even care, to be honest with you.
You know, good point. Good point. He's from BC.
He's from Vancouver, yes.
Okay, it's in BC. Yeah. Is that not?
It's fine. Michael Bublé owns the Vancouver Giants. He's a big Canucks fan. Well, I'll keep Michael Bublé. Ryan Reynolds, you can go to Ottawa.
Okay, sounds good. We'll keep this conversation for another time. We should also talk about who the Toronto Maple Leafs should get to own the team. That would be interesting too. Justin Bieber?
I'd love to own the Leafs.
Yeah, okay. You're just going to rip that Leafs apart.
Yeah.
Completely.
Change the team name.
Anyways, thank you all for tuning in on Homestand on the Parlay Network. I'm your host, Celine Trimarchi, alongside my co-host, Justin Pooni. Have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.